Hi, and welcome to English Channel. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
Part 1 Introduction. Have you ever said, yes, even when you were very tired? Have you ever helped other people, but forgot about yourself? Maybe you canceled your plans. Maybe you lost your rest, your sleep, or your peace. You wanted to be kind. You wanted to be a good person. But slowly, kindness started to feel heavy. Some people come only when they need help. When they get what they want, they leave. They do not ask how you feel. This is a story about giving too much. It is also a story about learning when to say no. Part 2. The main character and the setting. Ethan Walker lived in a small, quiet town. Everyone in the town knew his name. Ethan was a handyman. He fixed doors, chairs, fences, and roofs. When something was broken, people called Ethan. If a box was heavy, they called him. If a chair was old, they called him. Ethan always smiled and said, "Yes, I can help." He never said no, even when he was tired. Part 3. Kindness without limits. Ethan was always busy. Every morning, before the sun was high, someone knocked on his door. Every evening, someone called his name in the street. Ethan had his own plans. Sometimes he wanted to rest. Sometimes he wanted to sit quietly in his garden. Sometimes he wanted to fix his own house. But those plans never stayed. When a neighbor needed help, Ethan said yes. When a friend needed help, Ethan said yes. When someone said, "Just 5 minutes," Ethan said yes again. He canceled his plans many times. He missed meals. He worked late at night. He went to bed tired and woke up tired. Slowly, his own life started to fall apart. The fence in front of his house was broken. The roof had a small hole, but he never fixed it. Weeds grew high in his garden. The paint on his door began to peel. Ethan saw all of this, but he told himself, "I will fix it tomorrow." Tomorrow never came. People in the town did not notice his tired face. They did not see his broken fence. They only saw his hands ready to help. Helping Ethan became normal. It became something people expected. If Ethan said yes, no one was surprised. If Ethan was tired, no one asked. Kindness was no longer a gift. It was a rule, and Ethan did not know how to stop. Part 4. Climax 1. The Broken Arm. One afternoon, Mark Lewis came to Ethan's house. Mark owned a small shop near the town square. "Ethan," Mark said, "I need help. A heavy shelf is broken behind my shop." Ethan looked at the sky. It was late. His arms hurt. His back was tired. But he smiled and said, "Yes, I can help." Behind the shop, the shelf was tall and old. Mark held a ladder while Ethan climbed up. The wood was weak. The ladder shook. Suddenly it slipped. Ethan fell hard to the ground. A sharp pain ran through his arm. He cried out. He could not stand. His arm bent in a strange way. Mark stepped back, shocked. For a moment, he said nothing. Then he looked at the shop door. Customers were waiting inside. "I'm sorry, Ethan," Mark said. "I need to open my shop." And then he walked away. The door closed. Ethan lay on the ground alone. His arm was broken. His heart felt even heavier than the pain. Part 5, Climax 2, When Ethan Needs Help. The doctor put Ethan's arm in a cast. He told him to rest. He told him not to work. But rest was hard. Ethan could not lift things. He could not fix anything. He could not even water his garden properly. The roof started to leak again. The fence leaned to one side. Ethan needed help, so he did something new. He asked. He knocked on doors. He called names. Mark was too busy. One neighbor said, "Maybe next week." Another said, "I'm tired today." No one came. Ethan sat in his small house. Rain fell outside. Water dripped from the roof. He looked at his arm in the cast. He remembered every time he said yes. And for the first time, he felt truly alone. Part 6, The Mother's Awakening Words. That evening, Ethan came home slowly. His arm hurt. His body was tired. His heart felt empty. Mrs. Walker was sitting in the kitchen. She looked at her son and saw the pain in his eyes. She brought him a cup of warm tea. They sat in silence for a moment. Then she spoke softly. "Ethan," she said, "you are always there for everyone." She paused and looked at his broken arm. "But tell me," she continued, "when you are tired, when you are hurt, who is there for you?" Her words were calm, but they were heavy. Ethan did not answer. He looked down at the floor. For many years, he believed helping others made him strong. He believed saying yes made him a good man. He believed one day people would help him back. But now he was not sure. That night, Ethan could not sleep. He lay in bed and thought about his life. He remembered the times he canceled his plans. He remembered the nights he worked until dark. He remembered the people who walked away when he needed help. For the first time, Ethan questioned himself. Was I kind? He wondered. Or was I just afraid to say no? Part 7, The Storm. A few days later, the sky changed. Dark clouds covered the town. The wind grew strong. People rushed outside to protect their things. They covered their plants. They moved boxes inside. Even with his broken arm, Ethan went out. Mrs. Walker called him. "Ethan, stay home," she said. "You are hurt." But Ethan shook his head. "People need help," he replied. He helped one neighbor cover a garden. He helped another move tools into a shed. Rain started to fall. Ethan's arm hurt badly. Water soaked his clothes. Still, he did not stop. By the time the storm became heavy, Ethan ran home, but it was too late. His garden was ruined. Plants lay broken in the mud. Water poured through the hole in the roof. The fence fell to the ground. Ethan stood there in the rain. Everything he owned was damaged. He sat down on the wet steps. Rain mixed with tears on his face. He felt weak. He felt empty. He had saved everyone's things, but not his own. Part 8. The Lesson About Boundaries. The next morning, Ethan felt lost. He did not know what to do next, so he walked to the edge of town. There lived Mr. Collins, a retired teacher. Mr. Collins was sitting near the river. The water moved slowly and calmly. Ethan sat beside him. "Sir," Ethan said, "I help everyone, but I feel broken. I feel tired, not from work, but from people." Mr. Collins listened quietly. Then he pointed to the river. "This river gives water to trees," he said. "It gives water to animals and farms. But tell me," he asked, "what happens when it rains too much?" Ethan thought for a moment. "It floods," he said. "It destroys everything." Mr. Collins nodded. "Kindness is the same," he said. "When it has no limits, it destroys the giver." Ethan listened carefully. "You think saying no is wrong?" Mr. Collins continued. "But saying no is sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself." Ethan looked at the river again. For the first time, he understood. Kindness needed boundaries, and his life needed to change. Part 9. The 7-day challenge to say no. Ethan walked home slowly after meeting Mr. Collins. His words stayed in Ethan's mind. Kindness needs boundaries. That night, Ethan made a small promise to himself. For the next 7 days, he would not say yes right away. When someone asked for help, he would stop. He would breathe. He would ask himself one simple question. Will this hurt me? Would it take his strength? Would it steal his peace? Would it stop him from fixing his own life? If the answer was yes, he would say 2 simple words. Not today. The next morning felt strange. Ethan woke up early. He cleaned his kitchen with one hand. He made tea and sat quietly. Around noon, someone knocked on his door. It was a neighbor. "Ethan," the man said, "can you help me move a table?" Ethan felt his old habit wake up. His mouth wanted to say yes. His heart beat fast. But he stopped. He looked at his arm in the cast. He remembered the broken fence outside. He took a breath. "I'm sorry," Ethan said. "Not today." The neighbor looked surprised. "Oh, okay," he replied and walked away. Ethan closed the door. His hands shook. He felt guilty. But nothing bad happened. The sky did not fall. The town did not break. That evening, Ethan felt something new. He felt calm. Part 10. The first time he chose himself. On the 3rd day, Mark Lewis came to see Ethan. "Ethan," Mark said, "I need help again. A box is too heavy in my shop." Ethan looked at Mark. Then he looked at his yard. The fence was still broken. It had been broken for months. Ethan felt the old pressure. Mark was waiting. The town was watching. For a moment, Ethan wanted to say yes. But he remembered the pain. He remembered the fall. He remembered being left alone. He breathed in slowly. "Mark," Ethan said, "I need to fix my own fence today. I can help you another time." Mark stared at him. "You're saying no?" he asked. "You never say no." Ethan nodded. "Not today." Mark turned away, upset. Ethan stood there, his heart racing. Guilt filled his chest. But he did not follow Mark. He picked up his tools. Slowly, carefully, he worked on the fence. The sun moved across the sky. The wood came together. The fence stood straight again. When Ethan finished, he stepped back. For the first time in a long time, he felt proud. The guilt began to fade. In its place came relief. That night, Ethan sat in his yard. The fence was strong. The house felt quiet. He was tired, but it was a good kind of tired. Ethan smiled softly. For the first time, he chose himself. Part 11. A quiet transformation. Days passed, and Ethan's life began to change. The change was slow, but it was real. Ethan started his mornings differently. He woke up early, not to answer calls, but to care for himself. He made breakfast. He drank tea in silence. He planned his day. When someone called his name in the street, Ethan did not run anymore. He stopped. He listened. He decided. Sometimes he helped. Sometimes he said, "Not today." And that was enough. Ethan fixed his roof, one step at a time. He repaired the door that had been broken for months. He cleaned his house slowly. At night, he rested. He slept better. His body felt lighter. His mind felt clear. People in the town noticed the change. At first, they were confused. "Where is Ethan?" they asked. "He used to come right away." But Ethan did not appear every time, so people did something new. They tried. Mark lifted his own boxes. A neighbor fixed his own chair. Another asked someone else for help. The town did not fall apart. Life continued. Slowly, something interesting happened. People stopped expecting Ethan. They started respecting him. When Ethan said yes, they said thank you. When Ethan said no, they understood. Ethan felt stronger, not in his arms, but in his heart. Part 12, Peace and Growth. Weeks turned into months. Ethan's house looked different now. The walls were clean. The roof was strong. The fence stood tall. His garden came back to life. Green leaves grew again. Flowers opened in the sunlight. Every morning, Ethan walked through his garden. He watered the plants. He smiled at the quiet beauty. His mother watched him from the door. She saw the change in his face. He looked calm. He looked whole. One afternoon, Ethan sat on his steps. The sun was warm. The town was quiet. He was not waiting for a call. He was not listening for his name. He was simply there. Ethan smiled, not because he helped everyone, but because he finally helped himself. He understood something important now. Kindness did not mean losing yourself. It meant choosing when to give. Peace did not come from saying yes to everyone. It came from saying yes to the right things. Ethan looked at his home, his garden, his life. It was not perfect, but it was his. And for the first time in many years, Ethan felt truly at peace. Part 13, Conclusion and Message. One evening, Ethan visited Mr. Collins again. The old man was sitting by the window, reading quietly. Mr. Collins looked up and smiled. He asked a simple question. "Did everything fall apart when you stopped helping all the time?" Ethan thought for a moment. Then he smiled too. "No," he said softly. "My life began to get better." He talked about his home. He talked about his garden. He talked about his peace. The town did not collapse. People learned to stand on their own, and Ethan learned to stand for himself. Mr. Collins nodded. "That is the truth many people forget," he said. Ethan walked home under the evening sky. The air was calm. His heart was calm too. He finally understood something important. Saying no is not selfish. It is a way to respect yourself. Kindness is good, but kindness without limits can hurt you. When you always say yes, you slowly say no to yourself. Ethan's story is simple. but it is real. Many people live like Ethan did. They help. They give. They forget themselves. This story is a reminder. You matter too. 5 lessons from Ethan's story. Lesson 1. Saying no is not being bad. You are not a bad person when you say no. You are honest. You protect your time and energy. Lesson 2. Kindness needs boundaries. Helping is good, but helping too much can break you. Limits make kindness stronger. Lesson 3. Your life will not fall apart. When you stop doing everything, the world does not end. Others learn. Life goes on. Lesson 4. Self-care is not selfish. Resting is not weakness. Caring for yourself is necessary. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Lesson 5. Respect starts with you. When you respect your own limits, others will learn to respect you too.
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.